Hello everybody, this is Christina at Scrapcraft and Stitchery and welcome to my desk today. Super excited. I have gotten out a whole bunch of stuff. Why? This is day 4 of the July Junk Journal Challenge, and our theme for today, let's take a look at what our theme is here in our journal, is something vintage. Okay, something vintage. You can hear the cat rustling around in the background. She is sound asleep on a pile of junk journal supplies. I'm sure she will come over here and I will have to stop recording to give her some pets. It's also very hot up here, so maybe she won't. Okay, summertime. Welcome to summertime. So today's something vintage, and what did I immediately think about when I heard something vintage was I have this stamp and it's a dress form, and that is kind of, I don't know why. I have stamped this onto brown paper before and crumpled it up and inked it, and it's so pretty. I am going to take this stamp and I want it bigger. I want it to take up pretty much like the entire top to bottom of my journal. And so what I was thinking is it would be fun to do, maybe to stamp this, scan it into the computer, print it out so it's bigger, resize it, print it out, cut that out, and use this as an actual dress form to maybe make a, to make a dress. So I went through my things and I found these are actually antique, from the choir director, I think. So I'm going to collage a little bit of this into the background since I was doing a dress form. And since I'm doing a dress form, I got out a few things that might be kind of sewing related. I made these ephemera. These are super cute. I made these. I was trying to make bows, and I looked at them and I was like, well, those are spools. So, and these are just book pages that I've mounted onto cardstock and cut out, and I wrapped some thread around them to make them look like not bows but spools. So I thought those were potentially maybe something fun. I don't know if we're going to use all of this stuff. I found these gauges that I had purchased, and so maybe we'll either use these, we might make like a dress shop, and so we'll have our piece and these will be kind of in the background collaged in, is kind of what I'm thinking right now. Maybe this is a customer in our dress shop. I pulled out, so I have things that are actually antique or vintage, Some of these are going to be a mix, but I have these things from a craft supply swap that are I just pulled things out that might go with this cool blue fabric. So we'll make a dress that is kind of antique like this. So I got this out if we want to do petticoats. I also grabbed just this because I thought it might match, and I grabbed this tissue paper because it looks like a sewing pattern. So anyway, I have some like real live vintage or antique things, and I have some things that we're gonna just have fun and make a little dress shop, I think is what we're gonna do. So let's look at our page. This was botanical. I wish the tree was a little more defined, but loving that from yesterday. But ooh, look at that, it's all blue in the background, so we can actually kind of use this. I am going to collage over this, but let's see what happens. Let's get started. I think one of the first things I want to do is maybe, like I said, I'm going to, this is a coffee filter. So in order to get started, so I have a pour over coffee machine, and I save the filters, I dry them out and get rid of the grounds and then rinse them out. So I have this, and I just got a new ink pad because I couldn't find my black. So I'm really happy that I got this. So hopefully I can get some nice crisp black stamped images. So I'm just gonna stamp this. Isn't that a gorgeous stamp? I really love this, and I love the way that it looks. So I'm going to scan this in, resize it, make it bigger so that it'll fit better into my journal and be more the size I want. So the dress form came out beautifully, and I got a little help from my cat Newt. And here I am taking this dress form and cutting it out. I'm mounting it onto a piece of cardstock so it's a little bit sturdier for what I want to do. And I'm also fussy cutting out this image that I'm going to use along with this later. And more just fussy cutting this out so I can use it as an actual dress form. So now I'm going to go ahead and take these antique papers that I have. They're from the Choir Herald, I think, and I got them at an antique store, and I'm just going to ink around them with some speckled egg distress ink and put them down and collage the background a little bit for this piece. For this piece, I decided to not do gesso or anything else. I just glued these down with a glue stick. Now I'm ready to start. I'm going to make a dress out of just these vintage sewing notions that I have. My cat Grim comes by to supervise the work at the dress shop. I'm trying to figure out how to form the skirt of this dress. And cut this fabric into a circle. So I wind up folding it up and then cutting around the edge to make something like a circle.
Alright, I'm making the coffee.
I found this tissue paper that matched this really well. So I'm looking at that picture as a reference and making a skirt underneath. I just like the way that it was ruffled. And then I'll use that circle as an overskirt. But first, I decided to work on the bodice of the dress. This seam tape was not quite wide enough. It probably would have been easier to do the shoulders using the fabric and a ruffle, but I persevered and figured out how to get it to cover this dress form, and I'm just kind of working this out as I go along. I just thought it was really cool how well the tapes and the fabric that I have acquired over and found in my stash, just how well they coordinated together. This was a really fun little project page. I had so much fun putting this together, and now I'm trying to get the skirt to hopefully layer over the top of this. I realize that this fabric is really not in keeping with this very vintage Victorian looking dress form that I'm using, or the reference that I have, but I really liked this kind of fun wild print. Also, I chose this fabric specifically not only because it matched the sewing notions that I had and the seam tape and that I was using, but also because it's a very light fabric and I felt like it would fold well into my book. So I did kind of consider that, although this is a very bulky page. I'm going to hold that down with just whatever was available on my desk, and so I wound up using my stamp pad with some gesso on top of it to kind of hold the dress down and kind of press it a little bit as the glue is drying. Here I am adding some more glue to the dress to try and, again, just get it to lay the way that I want it to lay. Newt is back to say hello while I am making a tag to match the page. I have put down at this point a pocket for this tag to live in. And I'm using some of the pieces just that I had cut off of this paper when I fussy cutted it out to provide a background for the tag. I staple some of this seam tape to the top of the tag for a tab topper. And I tuck it into that pocket. Now that's really all that's left to do is to finish up decorating this page. So I glue down my dress form with the dress that I've created. This was so much fun. Just so much fun. And then I find a few other elements to put around the page to really just give it a little bit more decoration, a little bit more fun and flair, and make it a little bit girly. I really decided I wanted to have like a corsage on this dress to dress it up just a little bit more, make it a little bit more special. So that's the last touch that I add at the end. Finishing touches, and we're done. This was day 4 of the July Junk Journal Challenge. This is my rendition of something vintage, and there is a lot of vintage pieces in this page, and I really love the way that it came out. So I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that you will like, subscribe, and share. Check out the other people. I'll add a link below to the people that I know are participating in this challenge this year. So check out their channels and give them some support, and stay tuned for tomorrow where we will do, I guess it's Monday. So the 5th day is tags. Bye.